You had did you have a bad accident too? You're telling me?
I headbutted this bull. We got at a rodeo. He jerked me down, and we connected. And that's when I knocked my teeth out. And
you got fake teeth too?
Yeah, I got them all knocked out and bit my lip off.
Oh, no way. And I got fake teeth too. Yeah. It was just like the wave opened up, and instead of hitting water, I just went boom, just straight into the coral head, and it got my face. Yeah. And I was aware. I remember thinking, okay, you just hit your head really hard, and you need to swim. But I remember thinking, I'm just gonna relax for a second. Kind of like when you hear an alarm clock, and then you keep hitting snooze, and you keep knowing like, I gotta get up, I gotta get somewhere, but then you just doze back off. And because I'd been under, I don't know if I was under for a wave or two or what, but by the time I got my senses again and came up to the surface, I was pretty close to the shore. I got myself out and I came up the beach, and you know, and I remember thinking like, oh, I don't want Mom to worry.
Yeah.
And so I just kept trying to tell her like, it's okay, Mom, okay. But I could see it in her face when she saw me. It was just like, oh no, you know. It definitely was a wake-up call, and it was the closest I've ever come to dying. You know, I don't know how close I was to death, but it was years later, like when I tried to write this song, Drink the Water, I finally reflected back on it and kind of thought about it, you know, and tried to write about it a little bit. You want to try this?
Yeah. Yeah,
this one
I'll kind of
C-sharp
follow
minor.
along a little bit.
Yeah, play along with me. Boom. And then up, yeah. That's the one. Keep that going now. Drink the water, drink it down. This time I know I'm bound to spit it back up. I didn't want this salty substitute. Just not going to do. I need some air. If I'm going to live through this experience, reminds me of a...
You know, I really feel like your environment shapes you, you know, where you grow up. You know, I grew up in the desert and flatlands, West Texas and in Mexico. And, you know, a lot of the kind of music around there was, you know, country and blues and folk stuff and Western swing. And I've been pretty fortunate to get to play with musicians from all over the world. And it reminds you of what a universal language that music is.
Walking's most too slow.
Being kind of a self-taught musician, you know, just kind of picking up a book of guitar chords and trying to learn them on my own. The only real teachers that I've had in this thing are other musicians and other songwriters. So it's been pretty cool when you can have somebody that kind of puts down their guard and leaves their ego at the door and will walk in the room and sit down with you.
Ain't coming back no more.
Something about it, I don't know, some voices you hear, and the first time you hear it, you just kind of, I want to hear what this guy has to say, or this girl has to say, and he has one of those voices where I want to hear the stories he has to tell.
He had his own sound, you know, he didn't sound like anything else, you know, and it was pretty laid-back vibe, and, you know, it was from the kind of stuff that I had grown up with around Texas, you know, the country and rock and roll that was kind of hard and loud and in your face a little bit more. It was just kind of had this mellow vibe to it, but the more I would listen to those songs, the more I would you know, I was like, man, there's a lot more to this. When you started listening to the lyrics and digging into what Jack was saying, that it was deeper than most people thought.
I put all these up one day because people start sending you, like, you know, the posters, like when you play a festival and all that. And then I put all these up. I spent like hours, because they were all just sitting in the closet. And then my brother, my oldest brother, walked in the room and he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You got a little shrine to yourself, huh? Because all the posters and different stuff. Well, this is it. This is where I did all my albums. You want a guitar? What do you want to play? This one's, I like this one.
Martin?
Martin's really nice. I used to do all my gigs with that thing. I used to just have one acoustic guitar same guitar my mom gave me when I was 16.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad. I always give my mom credit for it, but my dad did
Those
too.
dad in there
But yeah, I definitely don't come from a place of like, never had a real lesson. I had a couple, my brother's friends showed me some licks and stuff like that. And for me, I always used to like, the first songs I learned how to play were those kind of songs where you just needed to play the chords and everybody else would sing the words, you know? My dad's friend would play those songs around, and I used to notice like, everybody would get together and we'd all sing. And then when he wasn't around, the barbecues or the parties just weren't quite as fun, you know? So I started being the guy, he would like teach me the chords.
That's how you learned to play from this guy?
Yeah, and I didn't have to sing yet. I was about 14, so I would just learn from him, he'd teach me our chords. So he taught me Mother, Mother Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have heard you call. I've wanted to sail upon your waters since I was 3 feet tall. You've seen it all. You've seen it all.
Growing up where I did, I was always around my uncle, my dad. They were all cowboys, and I grew up going to the rodeos, and all I wanted to do was ride bulls. I didn't care about anything else.
We
I
have a
just wanted
similar
to be
thing
a cowboy.
where it's like we both had worlds, you know, me and the surfer and you and rodeo is like, that was our world we grew up in. The songwriting was very like just secondary.
That was something on the side that I did with friends, and it was
Yeah.
like playing on the tailgate in the parking lot, you know, after the rodeo in the truck. I'd go to these different towns and places all over, and there would be this group of rodeo guys like, hey, we want to have a party, come play your guitar.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you say, no?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, all right, well, I'll play a couple songs if you want to hear them.
I made enough money to buy my emmet, but I pissed it away so fast. It's never meant to last. It's never meant to last. The bridge here. I have been drunk now for over 2 weeks. I passed out and I rallied and I sprung a few leaks. But I gotta stop wishing. I gotta go fishing down the rock bottom again. Just a few friends. Just a few friends.
One more time, say it.
Just a few friends. Just a few friends.
Left out a couple verses, but that's the version I learned.
Man,
I
I
kinda
grew
missed
up on
it.
that song, man. I don't know how many times I tried to go to sleep at night. My parents were having a party listening to that Jimmy Buffett record.
It's a nice song, you know? So we'd all sing those songs, and it was like, for me, I didn't have to sing them, and it was really sweet too, because I was learning the chords, so it'd be like, Mother, Mother Ocean, I have heard your call. Everybody have to wait while I'd be like,
Yeah, look down and find your fingers on
wanted
the
to sail. You know, everybody, just the whole family would wait, and we sing. And then my niece and nephew would be there, and they were just little guys at that time. My grandma, who lived next door, would be there. And as I tried to start writing my own songs, I realized now that I always kind of knew my grandma would be listening and my little niece and nephew. So I kind of always wrote in a way that, I don't know, wasn't real edgy. I grew up like playing punk rock and all that stuff. I had a punk rock band in high school.
Yeah.
But when I started
grandmas are sitting there listening, you gotta kind of watch your mouth a little
yeah,
bit.
exactly. And so I don't know, I always wrote kind of like songs for the family. It was just always family oriented. And like, I think somewhere in the back, I was always trying to write sing-alongs, you know? And it's cool because now like in a show, it's like that feeling of everybody singing and letting them take a chorus sometimes. It's a similar feeling in a way, it's just on a different level. So every time I would try to write songs, I think it was a little bit that sing-along mentality, especially in the beginning.
I grew up, I used to rodeo and ride bulls. And from a young age, I rode kind of steers and junior bulls and then rode the big boys there for a while.
Head ahead and left my world back in Texas town, but I'm holding on. Lay my head down on the rail, sing my ass back home. The headlights are blinding now.
The closest feeling that I had ever gotten to riding a bull in a rodeo was surfing waves. And I'm a novice surfer, and I have a lot to learn in that world too. I like to go, but I'm not at any kind of level like these guys out here that grew up doing it. You know, we flew in here the other day, and it was dark when we got into where we were staying, and I just remember laying in bed and just feeling the bed shake, the house shake, you know, and you could hear the waves just kind of landing on the shore, and like there was just a thunder out there. And it's a magical place, man. I've got a lot of respect for it.
My dad had moved over from California when he was about 20, my mom and dad. My oldest brother had just been born, so my dad sailed over on a 25-foot boat, and my brother and my mom flew over. My dad used to joke that he learned how to sail on that trip, you know, and it was like all by himself out in the ocean for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely see this place and hear this place in Jack's music. He's a product of his environment like we all are.
I don't remember the first time I met Jack. The Johnsons, we've always been close with their family. And growing up in the North Shore, it's kind of, it really has that small town thing. Everyone knows everyone, and everything's pretty revolved around the ocean.
The surf industry wasn't really a thing yet. You know, when I was a kid, it was kind of like, there was a couple contests, but there wasn't much money involved, and it was kind of this little counterculture. You know, as kids, we never dreamed, we didn't even know there was no such thing as like the word professional surfer or anything like that ever came in our mind. So I just grew up loving to glide and just to feel that feeling, or like even just running with your boogie board and sliding on the wet sand. And so it's just magical. It's like a little magic carpet that you learn how to fly. I feel like surfing is a lot like flying, or the closest you can get. And I look back at my life here, and it was a really, you know, fortunate situation.
For me, it was a little different because I didn't have any family, you know. Yeah, I just kind of had dirtbag friends kind of hanging around that didn't give a fuck about what I was saying, so I was pretty pissed off at the world and was just angry, and that's something I had to grow out of as well, you know. I was just young and rebelling against the world, and now I'm kind of growing up and find the courage to stand up and be a man and not just be mad at everybody and you know, rebel against everything, and but kind of believe in what you stand for.
I got a hole, and that's where I was at, trying the hole. I got a hole deep inside me. Got a hole now. Does that feel right? Yeah. We have a very similar approach to music. It's just kind of natural, and it's fun to sit around, and guitar, as long as it's close to in tune, it's good enough. And this is the one line I always get off. And I feel it's too deep to feel. I drown my poor heart in misery. For so long, it's too far gone to heal. There's a truth to the song, so you don't have to have everything perfect. Hit a couple wrong chords, that doesn't make it any less true, you know? So it's, I like that in his music, the rawness. I think we both have that where we play, and our favorite version might be the one where we both messed up 2 or 3 chords and a couple lyrics, but it had the energy to it. And I'm going.
Kind of do each one twice.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm going on the ocean, and I'm going out to the country.
I fucked it up. Missed the desert.
What I like too is that I'm getting it down here. I'm circling the right words and stuff, but you do it different every time, which is nice.
Yeah, sorry.
So man. I look over here and I'm like, all right, cool. Forrest is coming up, and then you're singing about the ocean and shit.
Yeah. Let me look at that too.
Lord, babe, oh sweet baby, would you kiss these poor lips of mine? And please tell me that you love me, and your heart is forever mine. I got a hole deep down inside me, and I feel that it's too deep to fill. And I drown this poor heart in misery. For so long, it's too far gone to heal.
Woody was a big influence on me, and what I've always kind of admired Woody Guthrie for was his ability to write kind of, you know, political songs and to be kind of socially aware of things, but without kind of alienating people, you know.
But I'm going out to the desert, but I'm going to see if I can find out why the people on the land are poisoning the sand. But I hope that we are home supper time.
I don't look at it, it's not like art by committee here. It's like I'm making something and I'm putting it out to the world and people can respond how they want. Like, it's good to think back and like, what would Woody or what would Bob Marley do in this situation?
Yeah.
What I like about what they're saying is coming from their heart.
I hope to be on home summertime. And I'm going up on the ocean. And I'm going to see if I can find out why no one wants to bother with cleaning up the water. And I hope to be on home summertime. Take it up, big it. Tell me that you love me. Your heart is forever mine. I got a hole deep down inside me, and I feel that it's too deep to fill. And I drown this poor heart in misery for so long that it's too far gone to heal.
We got most of those words right.
Yeah, I think I finally got it in the order weird. Was that the kind of influence on you, Woody Guthrie?
Yeah,
those
Woody Guthrie
guys?
is a big influence. In a way, I mean, it's kind of like the stories of Woody even. The one that I really heard that I would say almost influenced me more to try to write songs than any other song is a Dylan poem that he read one time called Last Thoughts on Woody Guthrie.
Yes, yeah.
You ever heard that? And I was in Indonesia on a trip. My brothers were cool enough to let me and my friend tag along when we were about 16 for this one summer. And they had these bootlegs. I mean, you know, everybody knew who Bob Dylan was, but I knew like, Don't Think Twice Is Alright, a couple of songs.
Yeah,
but I didn't really,
yeah.
like I wasn't a huge fan yet, and I just saw Bob Dylan. I was like, $1, or I'll check that out. I listened, I put it in, and then I just remember the first time I heard that, I kind of started trying to put it to music and see how it would feel, because it was a poem.
Yeah.
And I just loved the way that the rhyme scheme didn't always land at the end of each line, you know? And it was, I kind of put it this little thing. I can't remember all the words now. I used to have the whole thing memorized.
Yeah,
Take like 15 minutes.
Dude. It's killer.
When your head gets twisted or your mind grows numb, you think you're too old, too young, too smart, too dumb. You're lagging behind or you're losing your pace in the slow motion crawl of life's busy race. And no matter what you're doing, if you start giving up, if the wine don't come to the top of your cup, if the wind's got you sideways, one hand holding on, the other starts slipping and the feeling is gone, and your train engine fire needs a new spark to catch it. Wood's easy finding, but you're lazy to fetch it, and lonesome comes up as down goes the day, and tomorrow's morning seems so far away, and you can feel the reins from your pony are slipping, and your hands are a-sliding, rope is a-dripping. You start walking backwards, but you know this is wrong, and your sidewalk starts crawling, and your street gets too long, and your sunny deserts and your evergreen valleys that turn to broken down slums and trash can alleys, and your sky cries water, your drain pipes are pouring, lightnings are flashing, something is something, and the whole world, it's all slamming and banging.
It's like the bit I remember, but anyways, like the way that would just kind of like stumble over itself, you know? I remember hearing that and thinking like, oh, I want to try that, you know? And I was like, oh, you could try to do that in a song, you know?
By the way, you know the hope will make you strange, make you blink, make you blank, make you sink. It will make you afraid of change and often blame the box with the view of the world. And the ones that feel the frame, I turn it up, but then I turn it off because I can't stand when they start to talk.
It's funny, like look back now, I mean, I can honestly tell you there wasn't any thought in my mind that I'd ever get to do music as a career. I met the Malloy brothers. They had heard that I was making films at school, knew how to run a 16mm camera, and Chris Malloy was getting ready to make this surf movie, and we started making Thicker Than Water and September Sessions, and just that whole group of films in that time period, when I look back, it was a real magical time just to get to travel the world, you know, something that I always dreamed that I would get to do, and that's what I'd always have a guitar, and that's where like my whole first batch of songs came. I knew I'd always want music in my life, and I created music.
Yeah.
But I can remember flying into Australia and they pass out the forms where you got to write down your occupation. And I just remember like starting it and almost stopping and being like, I guess I'm writing this. I was like, musician. You know, I guess that's what I am now.
Fell across the fall line. Ain't there nothing sacred anymore? Try that again. We all fell across the fall line. Ain't there nothing sacred anymore? Na 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 na.
And I don't know, maybe it was something at that age, like you were kind of talking about the identity, you know, kind of struggling with that identity. Am I a songwriter? Am I a cowboy? Am I a surfer? Am I a song or musician?
Yeah. I had to kind of answer those questions for a while in the beginning when I kept being afraid of each step that seemed like it was happening. You know, it's like you start asking yourself those questions when it starts to actually happen. It's like, did I want to be here? Like, I guess I did because I worked at this, you know, and I had to take a real look at that because I was playing that game of like, not wanting the success a little bit, but then like why was I putting time into it, and like why was I writing these songs in the first place and like putting them out? It's like the songs I was always writing them to share. Yeah. So then it's just about like, are you writing them to share with your family or your group of friends or a small crowd? I mean, that's all legitimate too. Or do you want to share them with as many people who will come, you know? And it was like.
Well, I heard the blinkers on, I heard we're changing lanes, I heard he likes to race. I heard there's 6 or 7 words he likes to use, are always in bad taste. And I heard that Monday's just a word we say every 7 times around, and then we pin the tail on Tuesday, watch those strings go up and down, and the elephant in the room begins to dance, the camera zoom into his mouth begins to move. All those hateful words he uses now. I don't care for your paranoia, us against them fearful kind of walls. I don't care for your careless, me first, gimme appetite at all, or not at all.
I think it was kind of fortunate for me just around the Austin, Texas area, and around there was so much music. It kind of became a means of supporting myself, where I didn't have to go do construction or dig holes for somebody and dig in ditches and things like that.
But it wasn't that scene, it was like...
I was playing a lot of these kind of rough, divey bars where a lot of people didn't really go there to listen to music, so I'd find myself, you know, kind of hiding in the corner, just being in the jukebox and knowing that nobody was really listening.
Yeah, I know the exact feeling you're talking about. You know, sometimes you're up there, and it can be a scary place, though, too. And then I'll make a record, I go on tour, and then all those eyes looking at me every night, night after night, and then I'll come to the end of a tour and think like, why am I doing this? I gotta stop doing this. But it is, like, it's spiritual when you come together and you're singing with people.
The residue from the price tag on the tip of my tongue, words don't come, they go. How many likes I gotta get? For I know the truth, and the truth is season 3 be a great reason to forget all about reality's a slippery slope. Watch the TV scream and shout it. I don't care for your paranoia.
You put a musical instrument in somebody's hand and you play them a song, it's like, you know, you're giving that person a piece of yourself.
Me first, gimme appetite at all, or not at all, or not at all.
For everything that he's done in the music world, you know, he is such a humble person. He's still like sticks so close to his roots here on the North Shore and surfing.
Life's always been like that for me. It's always surfing the day, music at night. I never really, I mean, if it's rainy out or whatever, but music's always secondary for me, you know, and it still is. I try to keep that, not to make it so important in your life that it starts to feel like some kind of a job.
Jack as a surfer is pretty incredible. I remember there was this day, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, it was at Haleiwa, and it was kind of like one of the better days I've ever seen at Haleiwa, just perfect offshore, maybe 6 to 8 feet. And he got like the wave of the day. Just took off and just stalled and got such a good barrel all the way across, came out.
So I try to understand what I can hold in my hand, and whatever I find my way back to you. And if you try to find it,
just runs in that Johnson blood.
I didn't know John and his friends were filming or whatever.
No, you're claiming it, yeah.
I know, I fully claimed it, but I wish I knew somebody was filming, I wouldn't have claimed it. And then so they teased me about claiming for like a year after that.
He could have really taken his career in surfing and gone the other way with it, you know, and had music as a side thing. And he probably would have been as good as he is at music, but in surfing. He could have gone either way he wanted.
You have to have confidence, and I totally believe in the songs I put out, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of just realizing how much luck is involved, and I've always felt like I've had like a healthy realization of that. And so even when that first time when I wrote musician on that card as I went in Australia, it's still just saying, okay, you are going for this. It's like almost like signing on the dotted line that you're trying this, and you know, go for it, but just never forget like how fortunate you are. Like if this is your job, you get to play music, you know, and if people are coming to sing your songs with you and that kind of thing.
You write about what you feel, and you just be honest with people, and you sing songs like you're having a conversation with someone, and if you want them to believe you, then you believe in what you're saying, and that's everything that Jack does.
We try to find it too, 'cause this place is overgrown. It's a waxing moon. Home is wherever we are, if there's love here too. I said home is wherever we are, if there's love here too. I said home is wherever we are, if there's love here too. There you go.
See if this one makes it in. Willie got me stoned and took all my money. You ever heard this one, Jeff?
Yeah. I love this one.
Willie got me stoned and took all my money. I was $50 up, but then my mind went funny. It didn't really help, I didn't know the rules of the game. And it probably didn't help, I couldn't remember my name after Willie got me stoned and took all my cash. One high-low split and then he kicked my ass. He gave me knuckles across the table, but then my mind went blurry. Just like a puff of smoke, all my cash went up in a hurry after Willie got me stoned, took me for everything I had. I had to walk home, I had no money for a cab. I didn't have the heart to ask anybody for a ride. And nobody in the room seemed any condition to drive after Willie got us stoned and took away our minds. He sent me back to the kiddie table, he took away my pride. Now I'm sitting here with my band again, just feeling like a joker. Just thinking about how bad I really suck at playing poker. And thinking about my pockets, and was Willie the one who broke them? Would I really take a toke if they rolled Willie up and they smoked him? Hell yes I would, and I know it might sound funny, but Willie got me stoned and took all of my, Willie got me stoned and took all my money. Willie got me stoned and took all my money. Hell yes I would, and I know it might sound funny, but Willie got me stoned and took all of my money.